Our Highline Voices, 106.5 KQWZ LP FM. Connecting Highline and our region. Share your story. Our Highline Voices, history, cultural heritage, art, performances, contemporary, pop culture. We are very motivated to provide a vibrant community museum and authentic social gathering place. It truly takes a village to raise a museum. Despite the challenges, our daily inspiration is our eagerness to build a stronger and more connected community. This museum is from the community to the community. Our passion is for our visitors to have access to a broad spectrum of information sources and cultural perspectives. Our Highline Voices.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy. I'm the director of the Highline Heritage Museum, and welcome back. I don't get tired saying this every day. We have a very special guest, and today is no exception. I think that she's wonderful in many different ways in how she's gearing herself and in the work that she's going to be showing us what she does. So just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to interview you today. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself so people can hear you and trying to get to know you a little bit better. But before we do that, I just want to explain why are we doing this. We are doing this because we believe in the values of inclusion. We believe that people should have access to information, not necessarily inside the museum, but also outside of the walls, and people who have disabilities, people who have issues with transportation, and so on. And so our the values are not just a statement, there are actions. And I think this is another extension of our actions, either through exhibits or programs, collections, education. Now we're doing it through this area, in the radio. So I'm gonna pass the microphone, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. I appreciate it so much. I am Kiara Jefferson from Girls Inc. of the Pacific Northwest. I am the Teen and Alumni Program Director, and I'm so super excited to tell you about the expansion that we have here coming to Seattle next summer and the work that we will be doing. So thank you again for having us.
I'm very curious. I mean, so obviously I'm a girl, and right now, for anyone, if you hear these weird background sounds of little children talking and playing, that's because we have an educational field trip happening at the museum. And so this is perfect. Our background music is little girls playing around the gallery. And so this is just wonderful. And this is the Girl Scouts. And so they're all girls. So this is like a perfect timing. Girls on side when we're talking about girls, and then with you. So tell us a little bit more about your organization, what you do, why is it that your organization exists, and then share the magic of it. Like tell us the good things about your place.
Absolutely. Girls Inc. empowers girls and those that identify as to be strong, smart, and bold. And so we offer programming that is enriching to essentially focus on the whole girl. And so we know that there are a lot of societal pressures. There are a lot of things that we are needing to focus on with mentorship. And so a lot of our program focuses on STEM curriculum, as well as providing opportunities and pathways for internship and externship opportunities. And so I'm again excited to talk about the program that we'll be bringing here to Seattle specifically, that is already up and running at our other locations that are in Portland and Southwest Washington, which is a program called Eureka. It's a 5-year summer camp program that we will be piloting starting next year, summer 2024, where we target essentially the girls who are in middle school. So we capture them in the 7th grade to 8th grade summer year. So that's a cool opportunity for us to kind of grab them right before they go to high school. That's some of the cool time where you kind of maybe thinking about what you want to do or what type of things you may be interested in. You might be already invested and involved in some things. And so we are just wanting to kind of shape and start that conversation of having healthy conversations about self, about our environments, about our pathways, whether that be collegiate access or opportunities in workforce development and getting ready for career readiness. And so our program is geared to do all of that within the 5-year span. However, the first year, we're really focusing on that mentorship piece and building rapport. And I am so excited to do that here because I just feel like it is a opportune time for us to really connect. And that is so important for us to build in mentorship, is the connection part of mentorship. And so I am, again, excited to be expanding and talking more about that with you today.
Yeah, this is really beautiful. My daughter is 17 years old, and so she went through her middle school and parts of her high school through COVID. And so I think that I'm going to call it the dark ages, even though that is referred to a different period of time in history. To me, this is a dark ages on the crisis of teenagers, depression crisis, and how the isolation really affect the girls and on everyone. As a mom, obviously it's like, oh my goodness, this is so cool, and this is so amazing to be able to provide the space for little girls to feel supported, to have the tools to fight back. Life is not about everything is perfect and everything is a white clean sheet. No, you're gonna get dirty, it's gonna get broken, it's gonna be messy, but are you strong enough to handle the struggles of it? And it's not about questioning, are you strong enough? It's more about, there are tools to protect you. There are tools to support you. And so it's great to see you really representing the organization that inspires girls to do that. As a woman, I wish there was more of that too, not only for girls, but also for us as a women, and to how do we support each other on. And I think that by you doing that work, you also get that support network through your work, meaning like you also have everyone around you who is mentoring other kids, also having that bouncing off that energy of, you don't have to do it all on your own. You got a team supporting this. So this is wonderful to see. I mean, if it was me, I will be asking you questions all the way from, give me examples of projects, which I will probably ask you that, but I want to also be respectful of time. Another question I might say, hey, what is the difference between being strong and being feminine, which is about complicated. Another one could be,
I like that question.
and it's just the idea of having those tools, and then the society and how every generation faces different struggles. Like this generation that is facing are facing things that it was never in my generation or the one before and the one before. As an example of that, we have, I work in a museum, so I got my volunteers, and there's a lot of people that comes from different ages. And so I got this person, it's like she's in her 80s, and she's telling me, well, my generation was a lot different. It was maybe cigars and alcohol. And then later was, okay, cigars, alcohol, and pregnancies. And then later on it was cigars, alcohol, pregnancies. And then you go into drugs. And then after that, the next generation, you add all that plus, technology, pornography, and things like that. And then you go into now with social media and digital accessibility to something that nobody had before that. And so every generation, from the 1950s all the way up to now, and I know there's always been like that historically with every human aspect in history, that every generation is something up. But for us, this is a really dramatic change when it comes to the technology and how that is impacting and how we are new. My daughter was born when the smartphones came out. And so she's truly the first generation doing this, and she's almost 17. And so what are the ramifications? What are the impact in society? And so when I'm talking to you and you hearing about, girls empowerment and network and mentorship and providing the tools, obviously I'm more than please give me more. I want to hear more. I want to learn more about what you do. And so I throw a lot of you just in a few minutes, so you can pick it up in any place. I just want to learn more about what you do and then how you are supporting the little ones.
Absolutely. And Nancy, I love that you spoke to your own personal experience and you being a mom. And that is something that I attach to and connect with and resonate with fully here, because I also am a mom. I'm a mom to an 11-year-old. So right around the age demographic that we also serve at Girls Inc. And so it is first nature here of the things that are existing. Like you just spoke to kind of how it's changed from generation to generation. My 11-year-old has not known the world without technology. And so, but for myself, I have. And so there's sometimes a contrast in how we see things, because I'm like, there was a world without cell phones, or there was a world without computers or iPads or tablets and things. And so I think it's really important for us to remind our youth that there is a life outside of the technology that they are so attached to. And I will not demonize technology, because I think there is some amazing advancements, amazing opportunities, information that are in our tech field that we are able to advantage. And so I will never say, oh my gosh, we should do away with these things. But again, our organization definitely wants to focus on that, again, the connection piece of bringing girls back together, bringing safe spaces together. And I use safe spaces loosely, just having and holding space, because that is super important to us building one another up. I always tell my kiddo, like, if you see another girl that may not be doing as well as you are, don't ever, knock her crown off. Put it back on. And, you may be able to help another girl. And that is all that Girls Inc. is wanting to amplify, is that we are stronger together than apart. And so creating spaces that are fostering that sense of community, that sense of network. I have found, in just reading our alumni stories, or just hearing about girls who have participated in our programming across the board, is that they find a sense of like belonging, of welcoming. And I know that sometimes parents don't have the capacity, or our families don't have the capacities to do all of the things. And so community support is that village that we speak of, right? We all know that it takes a village to raise a child. And so being a part of that village with an organization like Girls Inc., it makes me so proud to be a part of that. It makes me also proud to be a girl myself, and feeding the inner child of myself, because I do this work because, hey, like you mentioned previously, I wish these types of things were amplified when I was, 10, 11, 12, so that I would have been able to, make some more sound choices, because sometimes you need to vet out some things. Maybe college isn't the path for you. Maybe working is the path for you, or maybe going into trades. And so just fleshing out some of those opportunities and having peers that are also going through those same life changes as you are is super important to our development, making sound decisions, using our voice properly. We are moving into a lane of advocacy. And so we are wanting to amplify and support our young youth in doing that in whatever way that they would like to. And so we are just wanting to empower our youth to empower others, because that's where it starts. If we're empowering and giving the resources, our youth pay that forward and do it in other ways, in other areas, in their job roles at college. They're more, motivated to be a part of groups, or they're more motivated to be a part of things that advance their livelihoods. And so just being being a small piece of that, it brings me so much joy, because we know that we are instilling, and not in a way of like, oh my gosh, you have to do these things, or oh my goodness, you have to be a good person. And I use that loosely here, but you have to be a big leader. And no, we are like wanting to support the whole girl, and no matter where they are in their journey, or what type of leader they want to be. If they want to be a outside advocate, we want to support that, but we also support the introverted girls and youth as well, who may not be as outward, or as standing up, or being a leader. When you say leader, you automatically think of somebody who's like out and powerful, and it's power in being quiet as well, or it's power in and not necessarily being in the front facing positions either. And so just amplifying what leadership means, what all things means for girls, and just creating, again, that space for them to step in their power is what we want to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold it together. I'm trying not to get emotional here. The reason why is that I do believe that the work that we all do, when we do it with passion, is because it comes from a place, and a really authentic place. And I can see we haven't tapped into the history of your organization, but I can see, people seeing the need to provide that safe blanket, the safe, welcoming, and network, mentorship opportunity that will help the ones that are truly needing that support. I'm from Mexico City, and so we don't have such groups like this in Mexico City. And in third world countries, a lot more different when it comes to what the priorities in surviving and thriving in an environment that is really really harsh. And you were talking about, little girls being introvert or no talk much, or just to get you a reference of why I'm really trying my best not to inject my personal into things, but I think also allows us to have a honest dialogue as to why we do the work that we do. Like in my case, I was born 80% deaf. And then with that, I spent the first 8 years of my life completely quiet and deaf because they cannot speak sign language and things like that. I mean, I can hear, but it's not as clear to have a conversation. And so for the first 8 years of my life, either the teachers or all the doctors really want to provide that support out of just ignorance and out of not having the education enough to understand that there are ways to support. And so being quiet was me. My nickname back then was the mute, because I would never speak. I would never talk. I never had friends. It was until I hit close to high school that I started to be more social. For me to be doing this radio interview, I'm still new into this. Like, I don't know, me and my accent and me and my hearing. And I come up with all these different reasons as to why I should not be doing this. But then I was like, no, because of those reasons, I need to get through this. Organically, I'm very, very introvert. And so this position is pushing me to be more outside my comfort zone. But the more I do it, the more at peace I feel, because I feel that I'm seeing myself in that mirror and I'm accepting myself in that mirror. So I do think that the projects that you do at your organization is allowing people to see themselves in the mirror and be okay with that, accept that, and hug the person that you are looking at. Leadership. Honestly, I don't know what that is. I mean, here I am. I'm a director, and I do have all these leadership positions in the area. And if you ask me what that is, and if you ask everyone around me, I am always deflecting. It's not about me. It's about all of us together as a community. And it is because I truly believe that it requires a community and support to make it happen. It's not just, oh, I'm a leader. Oh, I'm just doing it by myself. And hey, no, it's not. I would not be in this position without the help that I get or the support that I get around me. And so I think leadership is a community leadership. I don't think it's an individualistic leadership, but in being able to, the empowerment of the journey that we all go through is, yes, I can see myself. Yes, I belong here. Or maybe I don't belong, but I can hug myself. I have the tools to fight that and cope with that. And then just trying to find what makes sense. And so I'm talking at a very personal level. I'm not talking as an institutional, because once again, I want to know what's the heart of your organization? What's the heart of why you do? And it coming from a place that is real. I mean, I will ask you the history of your organization. Yes, I'll ask you about more about the technical components, but I do want people to hear from you. What is the heart? You already been tapping into the values. You already been tapping into why are you doing it? But it's like, what is the heart and what is inspiration and who created this wonderful organization? So yeah, I talk way too much. I'm throwing the ball back at you. Now it's your turn.
Absolutely. And I will say, and I'll speak on a personal level. And I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for being transparent and sharing a piece of you. That is, I felt that here in my spirit, in my heart. And that is why I do this work, because I am always a human at work. I lead with empathy. I lead with understanding. I lead with compassion, because I have been a girl on the other side, trying to find answers or trying to find support or trying to find that mentorship or trying to find connection. And so a lot of my colleagues that I also work with, they have had their own and I won't say struggles, but I will say they've had their own life journeys that led them to the point to work with our organization as well. And so at Girls Inc., we value experience. And so we know that life has happened to us all in various capacities, whether good or bad. And that is valuable to bringing and empowering other girls and youth. And so we are, of course, we have curriculum and we have things that are set in stone and STEAM and STEM focused so that we are able to have the structural components, but we're people too. And so we understand that life is not cut in black and white. We know that life can be hard sometimes. We know that some of our youth are going to be faced with some hard decisions, or they're going to have to maybe decide that maybe at some point summer camp and those types of programming are not the path because they have now been faced with the challenge of going to work or going out into the workforce. And so we want to be that kind of sounding board to be able to help families. We want to be able to help the youth, and we want to be able to essentially, again, bridge that gap where there are missing pieces for our youth. And like I said, and building that connection, building that network and community, that is so important to making sound decisions, to us feeling, you spoke earlier about, being okay with the person that you see in the mirror. And so, having peers around you who, again, are experiencing the same thing, who may be going through, sometimes our youth are going through relationship drama, or they're going through, so it doesn't have to be so serious in life. And we know that, we have to have support for that to get through. And who else to support than your peers who are around you? And so just facilitating and fostering a space for that with our programming it has been just amazing to see all of the results, the feedback from our alumni of just, it could be something small, or of them engaging or still wanting to come and be involved. And so our heart, and I'm just going to go back to the beginning here, our heart spans all across our organization. And although we are a national organization, our affiliate, specifically Pacific Northwest, our heart spans across the Southwest Washington, across Portland, and now it's in Seattle. And so I hope that you can feel that. And I hope that girls who are wanting and interested in our programming can also feel that and be supported in where they want to be supported. And so our heart, I hope you see it from me here today. It spans in how we approach things and how we connect and how we talk to. Our heart goes into how we figure out what programming to put forth, what curriculum. We are very intentional about how we come across. We know that there are updated languages. We know that there's a lot of things that are changing in our world. So we are trying to be as attuned to what is going on so that we are able to provide the programming. And a part of that is asking our youth and getting their first feedback and getting what they are looking at issues, because I can come from a higher level perspective in my role, like a director role here, and I can say, oh my gosh, this is what's needed out in the community. And it's not. It's asking our youth what they need and then providing the supports. And so we do take an equity lens. And so that's that equity right there, asking what they need and providing the resources so they are able to get to where they need to go or what they need to do. And so our heart spans all over the place here at Girls Inc.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I love how you express it and how you share that. Diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility. So they're very distinctive definitions for those terms. And it's very interesting when you tap into one or the other. But at the end of the day, it's all about just providing the space for all of us to be us, and allowing that to take place. So tell me a little bit more about, you mentioned your team and who is around you, has those values of following the heart, and the reason why you're doing this work. But tell me a little bit more about the history of your organization, like when it was funded, where it was funded, and so on.
Absolutely. So the Girls Inc. of the Pacific Northwest has been operating in Portland since 1998. In Southwest Washington since 2017, and in Seattle since 2018. So here we have a small presence. We're over in the Highline School District doing some after school programming. And so it is amazing for us to have that presence in Portland and in Southwest Washington. We've expanded from after school programming, and we're already doing our Eureka, which we'll be piloting here, which I spoke to you about a little earlier. But yes, we are thriving in the other spaces, and we're wanting to bring that same just excitement and enthusiasm here. And I have been seeing it. I've been here since July, and I will say I'm a newbie to the Pacific Northwest. I'm from the Midwest, and just so having that bird's eye view to see what's been going on has been just amazing. Just to kind of check the pulse of what's happening, and it's just been amazing to kind of hear the response, kind of hear the feedback from our other locations that are already up and running, so that we are able to build that momentum here as well. And it has been fun just kind of checking the pulse and seeing how Seattle feels about Girls Inc. expanding here. And so I feel like it's needed, and it's welcomed here as well.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I can see the differences of the demographics that you have experienced with, like you were saying that you come from the Midwest and then to the Pacific Northwest, quite different. And I don't know much about Midwest, but I'm an immigrant myself. And so I can feel the difference. I hope that you're adjusting well with the weather. I know that's one of the first things that you have to do is just go through the darkness and the wetness and all of that, but you'll see. Allows you to embrace it. I do believe that for you to enjoy truly and deeply a sunshine is because you have gone through the darkness and the wetness. And so some of the programs that you offer, there's some kids that needs that they're going through the darkness and wetness. And it's just the idea of being able to enjoy the sunshine with support is you're providing the blanket and a nice cup of tea and a cozy pajamas. And it's just for them to be able to cope with whatever situation they're dealing with. I think that the biggest, I'm saying that I'm going to speak that from me as an individual, not as an organization, that the biggest challenge that we all have is knowing our capacity of how to come back from conflicts, how to come back from, it's like, it's like choosing a radio song. Are we going to listen to sad, depressing music, or are we going to chin up and then dance, or are we going to hear something inspiring to make us go out of it? And so I think that the way you're describing it, your programs are tailored to be inspired, to inspire girls to face whatever needs to be faced. And it's not like hiding the sun with one finger, meaning like, oh, you can hide the problem. It's more like you do see the sun is right there. Well, now let's make sure that you have, that you're ready for it.
Absolutely. And I'm speaking today just solely about Eureka. However, we do have other programs that we, of course, would love for our girls and youth to engage in. We do have our Girls Think Outside the Box, which is a subscription box that we have, it starts for girls ages 6 to 10. So the age demographic before my Eureka youth and the summer camp program. So they are able to also foster a sense of community and connection. And so it's a box that we partner with other organizations to do different things. So we had a self-care box, we had a tech box, we have just different activities that are in the box that are sent to your home. And essentially you'll receive instructions to log on to the other youth who have signed up for the particular month that you've gotten the box. And so you can have a community space to do all of the activities that are in the box. And so we are thinking or trying to think of all the things where we're able to capture and engage our youth. And so we know that the Eureka program is not per se for our youth in less than 7th grade. And so the Girls Think Outside the Box was a kind of a supplement, and it's been awesome. I would say even for girls who are not in that age range, I think it just fosters, you can look at the activities, you may find something that sparks your interest. One of our boxes in the self-care box, they have like a journal. And so that's fostering, just a sense of maybe a creativity, or maybe it's sparking someone who may like to write, or, I just think that there is always opportunity. And so you never know what may spark a youth's interest or what may engage them. And so it's always fun just seeing who is drawn to what. And so just offering different opportunities for our youth to engage. And we do also have our leadership council, because we are, again, moving more towards an advocacy space. And so having another space for our youth to engage in advocacy efforts and talk about the things that they want to champion. And so we have a lot of things that span. And so our organization is always forever looking to grow and expand and scale and do amazing things. And so these are just some of the programs that we already have existing and are working well. So we just hope to continue checking the pulse of things, talking to amazing people like yourself, Nancy, to see what's going on in the community and how we're able to foster a sense of connection. And so I am just like so excited, even talking to you today. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real and this is happening. and we are just so excited to really bring our feel and presence and our vibe here to the Seattle area and really build upon the connection and connectivity that's already here. We're not reinventing the wheel. There are some amazing organizations that already exist. So I am always wanting to move forward with a collaborative effort. And so I am wanting to just go in these spaces and say, hey, you do something really well, and we are doing something really well. So let's all create this great girl power village so that we are all able to be a part of the development and success and empowerment of our youth, because that's what it takes. We all have to look out for one another. We all have to see ourselves in one another, because I know that I was a young 11-year-old girl who didn't know or wanted to explore or saw big things or maybe not, or maybe I've also been the person who's been like, oh my gosh, I can't, or oh my goodness, it's dark, and just going through life. And so having supports at every stage of that process, or just knowing the resources. It's not even maybe engaging fully with us for forever, but that's what we would hope. We want to keep everyone forever, but we know that if we are just giving the tools and the information, if we're giving the resources, then we're empowering someone to make those choices on their own. So even if they are not with us, they're able to take that forward. They're able to apply that to their lives. They're able to apply that to their families' lives, and so and what does that do? It enriches our community. And so it only pays it back to our youth and then further to our community. So just so excited to be a part of that kind of process for our youth here, and for myself too. I think that I said earlier how this feeds my inner child. And so seeing and believing in other youth also allows me to day by day. And I will say I can look in the mirror and accept that the person that I see. However, it's enriching and empowering to also day by day still continuously do that, because I feel like it's a never ending process. Because as soon as you like something and accept something about yourself, you'll find something else like, oh my gosh, I don't like that. And so it's a continuous process. And so doing that work, it helps me, but it also helps our youth as well. And so that just being a part of that, it makes me feel so full. That I hope that translates to our youth as well. And I know that it does from all of our staff at Girls Inc. as well.
No, that, like I said, really, I'm very appreciative of how you vocalize in the messages and what you do and how your organization does that work. You talk a lot about collaboration, and I know this might be the right place to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Do you think that one way or another, maybe not right away, that we can collaborate with you guys here at the museum and then maybe do a presentation or a workshop? Or you were talking about the boxes, was like, I would love to promote something where we can invite girls to come over and like create something, all the way from that to maybe a public mural that we can create together to really, it's just this, to me, this place is like a Disneyland that you can play with so much stuff: exhibits, programming, art, heritage, culture, history. And so
my wheels turning here, Nancy. I would love to do all things and collaborate. I am like really wanting to do so many things. I know it's a lot of tech focus here because this is a tech world here in Seattle. However, in our STEAM efforts, the arts is where I am wanting to like amplify creativity so much. And so I would love to come over and do an activity, come over and show the museum, just because it's so important for us to show that these things exist in our community, not just through our programming, but something you can go back to with your family, something you can go back with and engage in. I would hope that they would come and want to do more, and like really engage, because that's what it's about. You showed earlier the youth there right now doing some things. And so I would love to be on the other end of that when you're talking to someone else and be like, it's some girls and youth in here and they're doing some amazing things. And so I would love to explore all opportunities with you, because that's what it's about, in building community and doing that collaborative work. It is. And it's saying, hey, you have some amazing work over there. I know that I don't do art well, so I'm not going to act like I can. You do it well, so I'm going to come over and amplify you as well, and see what you're doing over there.
Yeah, no, and the cool thing about it is that if you're already serving the Highline School District, well, we are right in the middle of it, and we represent our boundary lines is the very same as the school district, meaning that we cover Y Center, Burien, SeaTac, Nomali Park, and a little bit of Des Moines, not much. But that is a big area in the South King County. And so the idea of how do we serve the 17,000 kids in the district, and coming up with ideas and projects. Why? Because they are community members. They are the ones who will be leading us in the next generation. They will be the ones guiding us. They will be the ones facing whatever is coming our way. And so it's just the idea of providing them as many tools as possible is great. I'm passionate about heritage. I'm passionate about history. I'm a little nerdy, if you didn't think of that. But yeah, I'm very, very, very nerdy. And I just love that finding ways to have spaces to connect, but also to belong. We might not look the same. We might not think the same. We might come up with different backgrounds. And when I use the term diversity, it's not just ethnic diversity. I'm talking about gender. I'm talking about ages. I'm sexual orientation. I'm talking about disabilities. I'm talking about all kinds of what makes us. And so when I use the terminology, diversity is way more than what you see. My Mexican label is this small. I'm more than just my Mexican label. And so the idea of how to empower local girls, is so strong. And so I don't want to make you feel like you had to have, or pressure you to say, yes, let's do something in the middle of the air, right, when we're doing a radio interview. But I do hope that there's some values that we can align. And then let's serve those little ones, because you're serving them, I'm serving them maybe in a different way, but we're serving the same community. And so we got a few minutes left, and I want to give you the space for you to share any last comment, any last thought, anything. Is there anything else you'd like to add and share?
I feel like this is a loaded space here. No, I'm kidding. Like, oh my gosh, what should I say here? But I do want to stress that all of our programming is free of cost, because we do understand that is also a barrier to entering and engaging in certain programming for the summer, not just for summer, during the school year as well. And so anything that I talked about here today is free of cost.
Wow.
We are wanting to invite all girls, or those who identify as. We are a gender expansive organization. We want to invite you to come and be a part of our organization, and really engage and do all the things that you would like to do. And this is a space for our youth to be themselves, empower themselves, and talk about the things that they want to talk about. And so, yes, we do have curriculum. Yes, we do have things, but we are practical with that as well. If we hear some youth talking about, hey, this is plaguing us, or this is what's going on, we're going to pivot what's happening so that we are able to address what's needed. We know that the world is ever changing. We know that things are always not what they're seeing. We might deal with some invisible barriers out here. Our youth are dealing with a lot of things, and not just our youth, us as well as adults, right? And so we want to make sure that we are championing and giving the resources and tools to our youth so that we are able to provide clear perspectives, empower and championing their voices in the ways that they want to be empowered and championed, and just providing a safe space. And so whether that be that they want to go to college, whether they want to go to an apprenticeship and going into the workforce, whether they're wanting to do other things outside of that. And so just creating pathways, creating opportunities through our internship and externship so that they're able to see themselves, whether that be at college, whether that be at a job, a specific job or a specific industry. It's really having them visualize themselves as the person they want to be and giving them the support to get there. And so that may sound, kind of like, oh my gosh, how can you do that for a seventh grader? But I like to give seventh going into eighth grade. And so I like to give our youth a lot of credit. A lot of them are very knowledgeable. A lot of them are very sound in what they want to do and what they like, their dislikes. And so listen to that and being in tune with that and saying, hey, I want to champion what you want to do. And also championing that it's okay to change your mind too. I wanted to be a doctor when I was in high school and that was not my path. And so just championing that it's okay that you might think that, hey, I might want to do this, but then change your mind. It's okay to change your mind too. And so just championing that there may be so many changes in our development from seventh grade to high school. Think about your own journey from seventh grade to high school, and so that may change over that time. And so how are we really looking at the whole girl and how are we really supporting those advancements, those progressions, those heartbreaks, those, questions, those kind of question marks about life or things that they're seeing happening in our society or in our world. And so just really supporting and amplifying the things that they are interested in. And so that's one thing that I am so proud to be a part of Girls Inc. about, because it's not a pressured space to be like, oh my gosh, this is what you have to do. We're talking about these specific topics. We are really empowering our youth to empower other youth. And that's what it's all about. If we are creating community, they're going out and creating more community for themselves. And that is what it is all about. Is that, hey, we want you to feel seen, feel heard, and feel safe in your own community. But that starts with you first. And so if you are getting what you need first, then you're able to then go spread that out to the people that are in your close network or your family or those people that are around you. And so I'm just so just warm today to just talk to you about it. And I'm having a moment here, oh my gosh, I'm really talking about Girls Inc. with Nancy here and all of the amazing things. And it just excites me that we are able to offer those types of spaces and also see what other spaces are out here that are already offering that and amplify them too, so that we are able, I am big on collaboration. I want to amplify what other people are also out here doing well, because that's part of that network. That's part of that cycle for us to continue on. I know that we don't do everything. And so just looking at where else that we are able to support our youth. I know that we do mentorship well. We do internship well within our Eureka programming. We do advocacy well within our leadership council. But I know that there are some organizations out here that do some other things well. And so how are we able to collaborate to make sure that we are all looking at things across the board and serving our youth in a holistic way?
No, I'm excited. I know that March tends to be the month that we celebrate for girls and women, and we're going to be working with the International Rescue Committee on March 8th to celebrate International Women's Day, and then we do have other programming that's taking place already in March. But I do like the idea of being more consistent. It's not just about gender, but then what about celebrating our heritage? We do celebrate Heritage Month here. That's the name of the museum, Highline Heritage Museum, and so we do celebrate Native American Month, or a Black History Month, or Women's History Month, or Earth Month, or Arab American Month, and so on, and Pride Month, and so we do celebrate things like that. And so maybe come up with a project that allows all the girls to feel that there's more than just a gender. And I know that's what the hard way you do, but I think that it's just collaborating and enhancing and empowering other views. I think is also cool. Once again, I don't want to pressure you. I don't want to say more.
Nancy, so, I am all in. I'm like, yes, let's brainstorm. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's going to work, because I know the work that you are doing is only going to enrich and empower our youth. And so I am all in. No pressure at all.
Good,
I'm
good.
like,
Well, I do hope that
can you come speak?
you
Can you come do some things? Because all in all, I want them to know that Highline Heritage Museum exists. They can come with their families. They can come for, like you just said, all of the cultural things that you are invested in month to month, whether it be a Women's History Month, whether it be a Black History Month, whether it be another
others.
Hispanic Heritage Month. You are on the pulse of everything and being inclusive yourself. And so that's empowering as well. We have demographics that span across all of those spaces. And so amplifying and letting our youth see that they are being represented as well is super important. And, so I am all in again. If whatever works, we're going to find what works. We're going to figure something out. Yes, whether it be you come to speak to show your amazing self, or it be to show the amazing museum. I would love to do a field trip or something of the sort. I love the idea. No pressure at all.
Good. I'm just glad to hear that. So I guess you're in trouble now with me. We're going to be able to find that warm blanket for people with compassion and kindness and values aligning with from that care, caring for little ones. And so our time is up. It was a pleasure interviewing you today. Thank you so much for allowing us and allowing me to truly get to know more about your organization, more about the work that you do and your values, your heart, that the heart that is pulsing and is growing and glowing. And so, thank you once again for allowing us to do this. And everyone, whoever was out there listening, just stay tuned. I think that this is a really beautiful organization, and I hope that they can give us the opportunity to collaborate with them. And so, if not, just check them out. They have their website, and just check them out, and then we go from there. So, everyone, thank you so much for allowing us, and thank you, Kiara, for allowing us to interview you. Okay, bye, everyone.
Our Highline Voices, 106.5 KQWZ LP FM.
We envision ourselves sitting at a round table where no one is the leader and stories are heard respectfully, regardless of gender, age, sexual orientation, disabilities, or ethnicity. We want to embrace our differences and similarities. We are creating a place where visitors can connect with the stories and each other. Our mission is we collect, preserve, and tell the stories of the Highline region and its people. We want to extend our mission outside the walls of the museum. Our Highline Voices represents us all, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and uniting to cultivate our future. This project allows us to reach out to demographics who might be unable to visit the museum. People with disabilities, low-income families, people who don't trust museums, and more. In partnership, we are launching a locally programmed new radio station at the museum, featuring recorded and live Highline's heritage, history, culture, arts, and more. Are you interested in sharing your story? Email director@highlinemuseum.org.